Welcome to Albion TV's new player show. Today I am joined by Lewpac, and we'll be discussing faction warfare as uh, we've been bringing in casters, streamers, YouTubers, people from around the community for a few weeks now to do some new player shows. And I thought nobody is a bigger noob than Lupac, and we should just bring him in to discuss what life is like over in the free state of Limhurst down in the southeast. So without further ado, we're going to just bring Lupac in here. How you doing, Lou?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. I guess I fit all of those: caster, streamer, and YouTuber.
Yeah. You're a
Yeah,
little bit
so
of everything,
I've
aren't
been
you?
I've been around a while. It's nice to deep here, and a topic very close to my heart lately. So anyone that follows the stream knows I've been doing a lot of faction warfare, partly because the Limhurst gang have won me over with their enthusiasm, and partly because of the horrible state of cluster queuing in the Black Zone. But today I'm here to spread the word of faction warfare to the good people of Albion. Especially for the new players. So new players probably see Albion TV and they're like, wow, look at these DVZs, man. But I don't have a guild, I don't have an alliance, or we're not in the Black Zone, blah, 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 blah. And the great thing about faction warfare is it's pick up ZVZ
Hmm.
of a lower level, and it's available whether you've got a guild or not. You can just rock up on your own and join the fun any time of day. There's special events that are even more hype and even more fun that we're going to talk about later. But it's literally as simple as putting on whatever set you want, flagging up for your city, and just going out to the fight. So first things first, we're going to talk about why you would flag up for faction warfare. And obviously, like most things in Albion, people are interested in rewards. So in the faction UI here, everything you do within faction warfare will earn you faction points, and they can be spent on a load of things, from the corresponding hearts for your town, the corresponding cape crests, and well as special rare mounts and special cosmetics if you reach high ranks as well. You get these chests, which actually the chests contain a lot of fame tomes, so it's actually a pretty efficient way to fame. If you buy the campaign chests, you get plenty of blue tomes in those. So you earn points, score rewards, and you have a standing. So I don't know if you can see here, you've got this faction warfare button, which is available on the first thing on your top right, where you got party finder, arena, your adventurous challenge, and then you got the faction warfare panel. You got that up, Bogle?
Yes, sir.
Lovely. So like this thing up the top, the daily rewards, anybody that's done the adventurous challenge, this will be very familiar to you. This here is you earn X amount of points per day. You have 3 thresholds, and when you reach those, you get bonus points for each threshold. So this is like the faction warfare version of your daily, and if you're doing it casually, it's well worth doing. It's a decent amount of points, and again, points can just give you valuable rewards, which you can turn straight into silver, or you can do trade runs or whatever with the hearts. Below, you've got the campaign rewards. Again, very similar to your adventurous challenge. You get enough points each week or for the month. Progressive chests will unlock, going from iron. The one thing that's different to this, by the way, compared to the adventurous challenge, is the chests get better and better.
Okay.
So with the adventurous challenge, you get 4 of the same chest for that month with the themed cosmetics, the furniture, stuff like that. These ones, actually, you get an iron chest, then a bronze, then a silver, then a gold chest. So the rewards get better. You can even get the faction mounts in them. You can get loads of good stuff. So it's well worth doing. And then on top of that, you get paid out a weekly bonus depending on how much faction warfare. So on the Monday after maintenance, you'll log in and you'll get a bonus points depending on how much faction warfare you did. So it's a nice little extra. There is an overall campaign here on the second tab, whereby you can you can check out who's winning the overall thing. Currently, there's no actual reward for it though. We won.
Yeah.
Limhurst won the first one, and there was no actual reward, and we were just like, oh,
I
okay
was
then.
talking with the guys from Thetford the other day. You may have heard the interview, but they were saying the same thing. They had won the most recent one, and
Yeah.
they would like to see like a fifth chest, like a crystal chest that you could win if you win the season. That's only available to those who win the season,
That would
should
be
they get
cool.
enough
Yeah,
points.
that'd be
And
cool.
they actually even suggested that maybe having a second tier of chests that were only available to people who scored full loot
Yeah.
points, because there's a big distinction right now between the the non-full loot yellow zone PvP that's going on and the red zone, and they would like to see
You already get
more
more
people
points
see it.
though.
You do, but they would like there's it a little bit more time with no danger, or
Yeah.
doesn't really equate to the same prize, and they would like to see different prizes for people who are willing to risk it. And you know what, maybe in the future, but right now, if you're a new player, you can get the exact same prizes as somebody who's willing
As
to go
everyone
full
else,
loot.
yeah. And
Yeah,
this is I absolutely recommend this to a new player that wants to get
oh,
involved into this sort of stuff, because the thing is
absolutely.
Shozen touched on it there, is you have yellow and red zone, and there's the blue zones as well. Some of the blue zones have faction warfare as well, but the blue and yellow ones are non-full loot PvP. So they're knockdown only. You get knocked down, you go to the nearest outpost, you respawn, you get back in the fight. All you take is durability damage. So they're great even for a beginner player with not much money, just to get a feel for playing your class in a fight and learning how to do it. One of the things as well I will say is, don't worry too much about picking your city early on, because you can change quite freely. But when you've gone deep into a faction and you're grinding up, there is quite a big penalty for changing factions. So things that might govern what faction you choose. We're only going to discuss the 5 outer factions. Carlian is its own faction, the bandit faction, but we're not really going to discuss that on the newbie show, because that's definitely not a faction I would recommend to new players, because it's pretty much full loot only, and you need to have groups for that. Like that's more for pre-made groups of 20. So from the 5 cities, if you have a guild or an alliance, I would first check if they have an allegiance to one of the cities. Because obviously you might want to follow them just for convenience. Then I guess it's where your islands are, where you live, or which one you just like the look of. Which one you think has the coolest mounts, the coolest capes, whatever. But it's as simple as going to your faction representative in each of the 5 cities. There's one here, and signing up with the flag button. It will say, do you want a flag? And you'll see where the PvP flag was in the top left is now the icon of your faction. That means your faction flagged. That means other factions can attack you wherever they see you. But obviously, blue and yellow zones, you will only be knocked out. Red zones, you will be dead and you will be available to loot. The final tab, which I didn't quite show you, was the overview one, where you can just track your progress. And most importantly, you can track your rank. You'll begin at rank nothing with 0 points. And as you earn points, you'll gain ranks. The higher rank you are, you'll get a multiplier on the points you earn. So the higher your rank, the more points you'll get regularly, and you unlock higher rewards as you get better. I believe Ranger, I think, is the highest unlocked tier here. So you don't have to go all the way to the end. Yeah, so Ranger, which is 1.4 million standing, is the highest unlocked tier. But the ranks go all the way up to like 4 million for the top rank, which is Protector of the Forest for Limhurst. And you get a cool
Each one
title.
gets a unique title, don't they? I talked to the Archmagus of the Mire.
Yeah, so after the first, I think it's all the same up to Knight Commander, and beyond Knight Commander, the final sort of 9 ranks are faction specific. So for Limhurst, it's Woodsman, Outrider, Pathfinder, which is what I am now, Waystalker, Ranger, Glade Watcher, Verdant Guard, Emerald Warden, and then the Protector of the Forest, which is a great title. So once you've flagged up, obviously as a new player, you're going to want to go to the fight, and finding the fight is the next thing that confuses a lot of people. So you're going to want to go to your map here, and in your drop down on the top right, you'll see that you have a selection for faction warfare. This will actually light up the royal continent in the colors of the factions. And what you can do here is you can actually have a little look around, and you can see what's being capped right now. If we look at Ferndale here, we can see that Limhurst is currently taking the Ferndale outpost. So if we head over there, and Dryfield Meadow is being taken by what I can assume is Bridgewatch. So we know that if we go out there, we're probably going to find something interesting. So while we talk, we're going to ride out. And again, at first, when you're a new player, just go with whatever gear you want, right? And just mess around, have some fun. And if you start to enjoy it, that's probably when you're going to want to perhaps take it a bit more seriously and start to look at proper builds that are more appropriate for faction warfare.
Don't you think you'll enjoy it a little bit more if you do use a proper build, especially when it comes to ZVZ? If you just use anything at all, you might not find yourself being able to escape or defend yourself, or, be effective in the ZVZ.
I mean, full ZVZ builds are best when you're with a coordinated group as well. I'm actually going to run down to dry field and defend that because I think I'll get a bit more Bridgewatch content. So yeah, first I would just encourage you to flag up for your city, run out there and just check it out, see what's going on, get a feel. You'll see each zone has outposts dotted around. Once you own more than 50% of the outposts in a zone, the zone will start to flip over to your control. When it flips, you'll earn some points, and you also earn points for capturing outposts. We're going to go down and show you about that. On the map as well, you'll see each zone has a star rating. The longer it's held by a faction, the more stars are generated over time. And when it flips, it pays out a set amount of points based on the stars, and the stars reset to 0. So when a faction has held a tile for too long or for a long time, they will hit max stars and they'll start getting a good sort of like passive bonus for holding it. And then whoever takes it off them will get a nice bonus for taking it. So you always, if you're rolling in a group, you want to look for the more valuable zones. But generally, you just want to be at first looking for where the fight is, going out and having some fun. So I'm going to go look for some bridge watches here because I'm pretty sure there's a little sneaky group grabbing some outposts. And right now I'm in a mess around build. I'm in a Great Axe Beyblades build. Pretty over geared for what I'm doing, I'll be honest with you. And I'm just going to chill here outside Outpost 3.
Beyblades.
Because I'm pretty sure that Bridgewatch are going to be coming for Outpost 3 any second, and they're going to get a little surprise when they get there, hopefully. Now, the other thing is, if you want to find out builds, when you've joined a faction, when you've decided upon a faction, I recommend joining that faction's Discord. We do have a handy list of all of the faction Discords, thanks to the guys in the Limhurst Discord who made that list for me earlier and saved me doing any actual legwork, which was very nice of them. In there, most of them will have a builds list, so approved builds for ZVZ. And if you're going to the red zone and you're going to the bandits, which we'll talk about in a little bit after I hopefully deal with these Bridgewatch or take as many as I can before I die, you'll find that if you want to join the main force, the more coordinated groups on the Discord, that's when you will be expected to run a proper build. Obviously, you're more than welcome to just flag up and follow the force, but you won't get invited to the main group and you won't get to have like the best fun unless you're running a proper build. And it may seem snobbish, but it's, they want the forces to be as effective. They want it to be as close to a proper ZVZ as normal, but there's no cluster queue and there's no silliness like you would find in the black zone. So it's a great introduction.
Explain if you can switch factions. Do you lose all your faction points? How does it work when you switch factions?
So I did say briefly there, if you're new to factions, don't worry about switching because you haven't earned that many points yet. But there's quite a big penalty if you're high up. So you do want to kind of commit. So here we go. Here's the moment. So we can see that the Bridgewatch colored blob, which is orange, is now on the outpost. We're going to let them take a little bit of damage from the boss and just get comfortable, And then we're going to see if we can do something here. This is not how I recommend you start faction warfare, to be honest with you, because this might not work for everybody. But for me, I've got quite a lot of IP here, and I'm probably able to kill a fair amount of these bridge watchers before I go down. At least push them off this outpost. But generally, you want to follow your main blob capping outposts and having fun. All right, these guys are probably going to get me here. Maybe I can get a couple more on the way out. Those two could die on the way out. I've still got my health potion. I might actually get a second go here. All right. That was pretty successful, wasn't it?
Well, not too bad. Not too bad at all.
And and then you can see I completed my daily there as well. Do you know? And because I'm the only person in this zone, pretty much for my faction,
getting big points.
Yeah, I get a ton of points here. I'm gonna go back in, and we're gonna go again. Let's go again, boys! Woo! Nobody expects the random Beyblader coming in. Oh wow, these guys are having a nightmare. I think I might actually hold this outpost.
Oh,
not gonna lie. I think we got it. I think we got it. Yeah,
Lewpac. This is wrong. Well, look at all those points you're gonna get, though. Wow.
I might have completed my daily there. Almost completed my daily off of that. Let's collect some silver off these boys. Yeah, nobody expected that one, did they?
No, I don't. No, they did not.
I mean, that's not how it always goes. Sometimes, sometimes Yeah, sometimes it's me that gets clapped, but that worked out quite well.
Sometimes things
Try
go
to,
well
anyway,
on stream.
try to go like 5 steps back and explain what just happened.
Yeah.
Like,
So basically, because we knew where they were attacking, I knew where the next force was going to come from. I stood off the outpost. I waited for them to go. People, similar to normal maps, people will blob if they're in groups of more than 10. However, if it's a faction blob, it will be colored for the faction. So right now, they are trying to take Dryfield Meadow, as you can see here. I'm trying to defend it. Maybe some other Limhursts will help me, but it looks like, if you can see on the map, the rest of my force is up taking Willow Wood. So we will rendezvous with them shortly to show you what normal faction warfare is. But this was just a bit of fun. Okay, they're coming in for round 2. So I'm just gonna
Well, now
slip
they
off
know that you're
slowly.
here. Now they're aware of you, and they're not going to get caught.
I got my daily done, though. I mean, I don't really have the element of surprise anymore, admittedly. But that doesn't mean we can't get some work done here, you know? They'll be a little bit more cautious, I'm sure. Oh, we've got some friends. We've got some backup now.
Oh, now it's on.
So right now these boys aren't ready. So I'm gonna let my boys, right? I'm gonna let my boys fight on the point, and I'm gonna wrap around the back here. Okay.
and
I'm
one comment before you go in.
Hang on. Beyblade time. Can't talk. Oh, wow. Something hurt me a lot there. I'm going to have to regen pretty rapid here. Any support from the guys inside the outpost?
Nope.
No? All right, cool. You just stay up there, tiny super bat. You just stay up there, bro. Just leave me all on my own. Oh, you're going to run. All right, nice of you. Oh, I'm in a bit of trouble here. I think I'm going to die. Let's try and take their healer down with me. Oh, okay. So we're going to get teleported to the next zone. We'll be able to join the normal fight here. Generally,
And this isn't going to cost you anything, though. That's something I think we should explain.
It's going to cost me a little bit because my gear's quite flex.
It's going to cost you a little bit of a repair bill, but you're going to get to keep your gear. You'll respawn. It'll cost you some time, but you're able to get back out there and give it another go. And continue having a good time.
Oh, I'm at this one.
That's a strange one for you to.
Yeah, I shouldn't have actually. That's actually a bug. I shouldn't have actually spawned there.
Shouldn't have happened.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and join what I like to refer to as the bobbleheads. Okay, so when you play faction warfare, you have two types. You have like the keen beans, who are the guys on Discord in proper ZVZ builds.
Keen beans?
Yeah, keen beans. You know, they're keen. They're enthusiastic. They're tryhards, whatever you want to call them. Sweaties. You know, these guys are coordinated. They're on comms. They use proper builds, and they're the main fighting force. And then you have what I refer to as the bobbleheads, which is like the guys that just bring any old gear. We refer to them. If you join the Limhurst Discord, there's a fantastic channel called Heroes of Limhurst, which is dedicated to all of the wacky builds we see following us around on the bandits. There's some like, you know, full fishermen with hammers and all sorts in there. But they just sort of bobblehead after us, and they usually pick up a bit of loot, and then like they're like a little herd of penguins, you know, just like
you too can be part of the herd of penguins. All you have to do is follow
you'll start your life as a bobblehead. You will start your life as a bobblehead, but you can have some fun with it anyway. And you might find that you're enjoying it, but you want to win more. You want to take it a bit more seriously. You don't just want to get clapped in every engage. And that's where these faction discords come in. So you join the faction discord, and then you can start to look at the builds list. And there's a number of roles you can play. There's tons of weapon choices. So you've got your tanks, both offensive and defensive. Offensive tanks are for obviously catching big clumps of people and then setting it up for your DPS to delete. You've got defensive tanks who are there to stop enemy engages and stop flank squads. You've got your healers, obviously. Then you've got your support classes. You've got locusts, occults. You've got enigmatics are very important. And then you've got all your DPS as well. So you've got ranged DPS, melee DPS, pseudo support DPS, I guess, like a damnation staff and a spirit hunter. So there's tons of options to play, and like I would just recommend trying them all out. Generally, again, to get into the proper groups for full loot PvP, you'll probably need a fairly decent IP for your class, but Yellow Zone is the perfect place to go. So here we can see the main Limhurst force of bobbleheads, and this guy was basically me in the other zone, you see. So you'll often get like these guys like me, like this guy, Noel Potato, who are just trying to clap a bunch of people and maximize their points. Because if there's if you're outnumbered in a zone, you get more points per kill. So that's why people do that. So
Good
you have to,
news.
on each outpost, you have to take down a boss, and then you can see here we're channeling it, and that will flip it to our faction. And then after 40 seconds, our boss will spawn instead. One thing you have to note, in order to capture a zone, you'll need to capture more than 50% of the outposts. But also, which we didn't say yet, is the zone will have to be connected to another zone that you own. So there needs to be a chain of zones heading back to your city. And sometimes enemies will play in a way that cuts you off. And, you know, they'll prevent you from capping something. And, like, stop your advance by actually sniping something behind. So I'm actually going to wait here for the boss. These guys have actually left. This completely undefended. And one guy could walk onto this and capture it now. So if you wait, and then you can see now the boss has spawned. And that's what you should do, technically. But these guys are just like, bubble, 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 onto the next outpost, get the points. In order to score points for the outpost capture, you have to either hit the boss, or you have to stand on it while it's channeling. Either of those will score the points. You also don't need to be in a zone when it flips. That's another thing to know about points. A lot of new players don't know this, and they stand at the edge of a zone waiting for the flip.
I do it.
As long as you took part in capping the zone, you will get the points when it flips. I'm going to ride with these guys just to show you the boss fight real quick. So you can see what happens. And you'll see the guys in flat 4 usually go down to the boss and then get up, and so on and so forth. But yeah, so as long as you took part, you'll get credit for it, even if you're in a zone. You'll even get credit if you've deflagged. You'll still tend to score points for a little while after you deflagged because of things you did. And every now and again, you'll get a tick of points based on things things your faction owns overall, B, things you've done recently. So it'll be like your faction's defense of its lands or what you've captured and stuff like that. So every now and then you'll get these nice chunky ticks of points. And honestly, Yellow Zone is a pretty good income. If you're just messing around, like it's a significant amount of points, and it's not a bad way to grind rank. Red Zone, I generally don't recommend going without an organized group outside of bandits. And then the bandits, unfortunately, the bandits just finished before this show, so we won't get to show a bandit event. So we'll kill this boss here and then flip this zone. But bandits is a randomly generated event that spawns on it's a random timer between 3 and 6 hours from the last bandit finishing. It starts, and that's a special event where all of the red zone territories get handed over to the bandit faction, and then each of the other 5 factions forms up and goes to try and capture the most. And there's bonus points awarded for first place, and the scoring is decided on who owns the most of the red zones. But that generally is like, that's the best bit of faction warfare, because the bandits is full loot. It's very organized. You know, each city has a shot caller and backup shot callers. I currently shot call for Limhurst in the daytimes as well. So if you're in the Limhurst group, you'll be able to come out and roll with us. But it's a ton of fun, and that's what you should be aiming for. But as a brand new player, at first you want to be messing around in the yellow zones, trying a few different builds, deciding what you like to play, and then working on getting that ready to join the bandit events and join the real fun. Again, that's all organized through the faction discords, which I believe we're spamming in chat, or we're providing in chat, are we?
Yeah, we have them in chat. Bogul just spam them once again. They're in chat right now as we're yammering away.
Yeah, so that's when you want to take it to the next level. If you join one of those, what you can expect is much more organized setups, you know, much higher quality of forces, much more higher quality fights. But again, you will also be expected to be running a proper ZVZ build, and you'll be expected to follow the shot caller, be on time, moved. You're expected to be a bit more of a soldier in that situation. It's not as like Black Zone ZVZ level of try hard, but there's definitely, it's definitely very different to just running around the yellow zone having fun that you start with. But that's where you should go if you decide that you're really enjoying it. But as a brand new player, just get yourself out into the yellow zone and just start shooting things. Just start hitting clumps with your tank, do whatever. Generally, just follow the big blob that is the color of your faction. Stick with them, and you might go 2 or 3 zones without actually fighting, just capping like objectives. But eventually you'll get close enough to the enemy city that they'll start to mass up and fight you, and that's when it kicks off. And usually like you'll get almost to their city, and then they'll just start pouring out, and you'll get a crazy fight. Eventually probably get pushed back because they're getting reinforcements quicker than you are. And yeah, you'll get a feel for it over time. But the way to find your fight is basically just pull your map up, pull open the faction warfare overlay, and then look for the closest zones to the city that have these like sword icons. And you can see here in Rowanwood, it looks like Fort Sterling is beginning their push there. Like you can see they've got Khan. Darg is actually flipping to Bridgewatch. It's
Can you
flipping
go
to
over
Limhurst now.
the icons on the map a little bit for us? Explain what those are.
Yeah, so each of these flags is an outpost within the zone. The sword icon means it's currently under attack. The green to white bar you can see at Khan Darg here. This shows the progress of, if I keep refreshing it, you'll see it ticking up slowly. You can't actually see it tick in real time, unfortunately. You have to reload the map. But this shows you the progress of Limhurst capping Khan Darg. We can see here that it hasn't generated any stars. We can see that it's a yellow zone. And then the little bar at the bottom is the progress to generating the next star. So if you look at a 4-star zone, for example, Birch Copse, you can see it's 4 stars, fully maxed with a full bar. This will not generate any more. Flinsdale has 1, and it's working on generating its 2nd star.
And what stars do?
The stars basically, again, the stars just mean it's worth more points. So, you know,
so
the
when
more
you
stars,
take it, or when
you
defend
take it, but also passively.
I see.
So like high star zones will generate more passive points for your ticks, but they're also worth the most when you flip them. The blue zones and yellow zones only go to 4-star. The red zones can go to 5-star. And generally, the more outposts it has, the higher the value. So the 4-star zones are the ones with 5 outposts. And the 5-star zones are the 3 outposts in red. And the 3 stars are the 1 outpost ones. So there's a few little there are a few little mechanics, but generally, like you're not, until you're leading a force, you're not really going to be worried about where are we going to go, what's got the most stars. When you, as a new player, you're basically just following around the blob of your color and just getting stuck in. And you'll learn more. The more you do it, the more you'll learn about where the fights are likely to be, where it's going. But the great thing is this is available 24/7. Like whenever you log on, there will be people doing this, right? Like off peak, the groups will be smaller. That also means you make more of an individual impact. Like I have a lot of fun at weird hours because it's like groups of 7 and 8 trying to take outposts, and I can easily like fend them off on my own using hideously expensive gear and maximum specs, like a complete try hard. But
you've been playing for a while though, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have been playing this game as a full-time job for 4 years now.
Right. I've got 2 questions before we can maybe look at 1 or 2 questions from chat. One thing I'm curious at that you sort of hinted at in terms of income. Do you have any idea what a new player can sort of make and how they would generate silver from this activity? Or is it just all about fun?
No. You generate points. I mean, like the points you generate per hour completely depends on like how high the zones have ticked up that you're capping, you know, how successful your guys are doing. So, I mean, I honestly don't know rough amounts per hour, but your points can be directly traded into tree hearts, loot chests, or crests. Mm-hmm. And hearts and crests will directly sell, or you can combine the two to make faction capes, which will always sell. So like you can turn these points straight into silver by purchasing hearts and crests and just selling them. Like so one thing that might influence your decision on faction, especially if you're someone that's trying to work on economy, you might look for the faction whose crests are most expensive.
Is there a big difference there?
I think there is some difference between the capes. You know, for example, a Bridgewatch cape probably isn't used as widely as say a Thetford cape. So maybe the crests are a bit cheaper. I haven't actually looked at the individual. I stopped caring about money a long time ago, Bogul. So I'll be honest, I haven't gone in depth.
I mean, I guess that's
with the monetary values.
I guess that's the viewer's task then to figure that out. Sure.
But I don't think money should be the overriding factor as to where you go. I think you should develop a love and a loyalty for your city. You know, whether you're tree gang, sand gang, mountain gang, snow gang, or swamp peasant.
Swamp peasant.
Nah.
What is this?
We love those.
You're going after them because they beat you? Okay.
No, the Thetford guys are good. We don't get to see Thetford. Like you don't really get to see your furthest opposite faction that often, because usually you're all going to run into different factions before you meet. Like sometimes there's a weird 4-way fight in the underwave in the bandits, but so for example, Limhurst Yellow Zone, you're only ever going to really fight Bridgewatch and Fort Sterling. You're only going to fight like the two next door neighbors. Bandits, you're more likely to see everyone. But you can see here, we got these outpost points here, but I also gained from your faction's defense, I gained a bonus 3,100 points. Converted into hearts, I wish I'd come in here with like an actual like silver per point estimate. Maybe someone in chat knows roughly how much silver a faction point is worth. But when we go back, we can have a look at how much it costs to buy a heart. And again, the higher rank you get, the bigger your multiplier. There's also a multiplier available, as you can see here, for joining the least popular factions. So the most popular faction currently is Bridgewatch. Every other faction will give you a bonus. Martlock will give you 27.8 more points than you would get if you were in Bridgewatch right now.
Oh.
So, that's not insignificant if you're doing it for money, I would say. But conversely...
Chat says hearts are 3,000 each, roughly 4,000 silver.
So 3,000 points which is what I got in that defense tick right there. That's 40k silver.
Yeah, that's
40k
not
silver
bad.
to quite a new player is that's maybe one day I do a challenge to just pay my premium through faction warfare.
That would be interesting.
On a new character. That'd be fun. Oh, so we can see here we got a Bridgewatch blob zoning in, and we're about to have some combat. So as I said, the closer we get to Bridgewatch, the more likely it is they form up. But here, what you're going to see is you're going to see a load of people like this fella in 4.1. Sorry, Destroyer Ghost, if you're watching. I didn't mean to single you out. But this guy has just rocked up in a set that probably costs 5,000. And he's scoring probably around the same amount of points as me for capping these outposts,
Nice.
Like, so it's not... Yes, I'm out here in 8.3 Masterpiece having a laugh just because I can. But that's not like the be-all and end-all. And you can see there's a bit of a kickoff here. Bridgewatch are a little bit outnumbered, but they're doing their best. Is this a Kingmaker in the middle? I'm going to charge my abilities and do some spinning on this man down here with the sword, and he should die fairly quickly. There we go. Got him. And as long as you took part in a kill, you'll get credit. When you're in a massive blob like this and you're picking off 1s and 2s, though, you're going to get like 0.45 standing. You're going to get really, really small standing amounts per kill. Simply because of that. And what you'll see is I bet a bunch of guys here will stay in this zone till it flips because they're worried they won't get the credit.
I do have to jump in here and say we have about 5-6 minutes left on the show. I want to get at least 1 or 2 questions from Twitch chat. So
if you guys have got any questions about faction warfare, do fire them out.
Yep. If you posted something early and it didn't get looked at, do it again. And then we have like a few minutes to look at a few questions.
And I have been
these guys want it.
Some raffles.
Oh, that guy wanted it. He no longer wants it.
He no longer wants it, Shozen. He's not into it?
He no longer is into it. He was into it briefly.
He wants to not be into it. He's too deep in it right now. And he's like, it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Guy's also no longer into it. Let's see if this fella wants it. Hello, sir. This is another guy. This is another guy in the 6-3 try hard kit. Oh, this healer. Does this healer want it? Do we think, Shozen? I think this healer's going to get it.
I think this healer's going to get it.
I think he's going to get it. He pops his cleric. Oh, he's a rampant. Rampant getting buffed soon, actually.
Oh, yeah, we're going to see that real soon.
Where you go? Where are you going, Mr. Healer? Come back, please.
I'm
Come
interested
back.
to see how it works over here in the faction warfare. I mean, it's already pretty decent in the ZVZ.
So look at this, by the way. This is what you will have to deal with in Yellow Zone. Look at all these guys completely ignoring this healer getting run down.
They don't care.
Like they absolutely couldn't care less.
Well, one guy did, and he demounted just in order to get hit.
I recommend when you start out, like you can literally bring everything. I recommend you bring something that can take care of itself.
There's two questions. One is, are you going to have any IP cap situations to deal with, like with your gear or just in general?
No, there is no IP cap for faction warfare in any of the zones. Once you start doing the bandits, which is the randomly generated event we saw earlier, you'll see it says bandit assault starts in 15 minutes. You've probably seen that pop up and ignored it, but that's what it's about. When you get to that, if you want to join the main force, you'll probably be expected to have an IP that isn't like really low. But honestly, like there's no IP caps to worry about as such. I would say, like you could just go and have fun and just go at your own budget. You can, if you have a HE set, you can always bring it out here.
The
You will
higher
have to
you
pay
gear,
the
the higher your
repair
repair cost.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I use 6.3 Masterpiece outside of my weapon because it gets the repair cost of tier 6, but 6.3 Masterpiece has, like, for me, I've got 1663 IP, 1713 on the chest. Do you know what I mean? It's a good IP, but without the repair cost.
Oh, there's no difference between a masterpiece and a regular item in terms of repair cost? Oh,
No.
interesting.
So that's why HE gear used to be 6.3 Masterpiece outside of the weapon, because that was good. Oh, this is going to be juicy. This is going to be... They stopped me. They stopped me at the last second.
They got you, Lou. They did.
Still, I got in there, though. I got in there and I had my fun.
Get a couple of whacks in. You can get a couple of whacks in.
And one other question is about your build, of course. Everybody wants to know, what the hell is Lewpac doing with this thing that he's showing off? It seems like fun.
This is a great clap build. I mean, this is a reasonable ZVZ build. Like, you can actually ZVZ in this, but you need a high IP for this build to be effective. Again, each faction Discord will...
A3 Masterpiece, if you're just wondering.
No. I would say 8-1. Like, flat 8 and 8-1, Great Axe is fine, but it's a very IP dependent weapon. But as I said, on the faction Discords, if your IP is lower, but you play something less IP dependent, like a Locus, you can still get into the main force. You know, a good Locus will never struggle to find a group, regardless of IP, honestly. Stuff like Locus, Enigmatic, Occult, Damnations. I'm often short of Damnations, which is interesting. Wow, these guys came storming in. These guys came storming in, and it looked like the tree boys weren't ready there. So like, don't worry about IP when you're starting out. Just come out and have some fun. There'll be plenty of guys in really, really low tier gear. You'll meet a lot of flexers in Yellow Zone. You'll meet a lot of people that wear 8.3 and never leave the Yellow Zone because they're unconfident or unable to. But you shouldn't worry too much about it, honestly. Oh, this is gonna be juicy. This is gonna be juicy. Oh. I'm just on my own. All of my guys have run for the hills. I'm gonna go down in here then, and we can get ready for the next show.
I just don't see anything happening here.
So when you die, when you die in the Yellow Zone, you get moved to the nearest friendly point. So for me, I'm going to get teleported to Snapshaft. If you should know that if you are in a zone that's completely disconnected and you die, you will get put back to town and you'll get put back to an outpost, but deflagged.
Oh,
that's worth knowing. But for a new player, as I said, grab your favorite set, flag up, look on the map for where the fight is, and just join the blob. Make sure you don't accidentally wander into a red zone, because that can happen, especially if you don't have the notification. And remember, like this fella here, whenever you're done, you can deflag. So if you finish a push all the way to Bridgewatch and you don't want to ride home, you can just deflag and go into Bridgewatch. So that's a good way to finish, I guess, when you're done for the day.
Yeah, I've had to do that a number of times, deflag and then go back to an enemy city.
It can look daunting to a new player, oh, all these people running around fighting, they must all be veterans or whatever. But 80% of the people out here are also like you new players, wearing low tier gear. This fella with the 5-1 nature, they're just running around having fun. They don't really know what they're doing. They're just pressing buttons and they're just having some fun. So get out there, and then if you get a buzz for it, join your factions Discord, learn about proper builds, and take it seriously. And the great thing is there's no mandatory attendance percentage. If you can't attend, you don't attend. If you're there when it starts, you can go. Do you know what I mean? There's no requirements. There's no like rule set. No minimum attendance like a guild might have. Just go in and have a laugh. That's all. I can't say more than that. It's great fun. It's open to everybody and everyone should try it.
I agree. I think it's a blast, and I can't recommend it enough.
Any other questions? I look at all these
what's
people.
up next? We got like a.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
We'll be back with the Dream Team. I heard this hot new team. Oh wow! Look, these guys. Limhurst did an engage here. This is like a proper ZVZ right now.
Oh no!
Bridgewatch did an engage. Limhurst did a counter engage. I've no idea what's going on, but it doesn't look like Yellow Zone faction warfare that I remember. Unbelievable, Jeff.
Right, we will be back in just a few moments with the 5v5 Crystal League classes featuring the Albion Dream Team of the AOTV casters. All 5 of us will be here in just a few moments, but we do have to go and get ready for that, and we will be starting that show at about 5 of, so do stick around. I'll be giving away some gold in that show as well. I'm going to give away one more raffle right now. Keep you guys happy.
And we will be, I guess we'll be right back then.
Yeah, Uslof, you've won the raffle. Whisper me to claim your prize. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be right back.
All right, see you guys in a bit.